There's no downside to commuting on the ferry boat.
Oh, I love it. It's beautiful, especially on a nice sunny day. It's great to ride the ferries.
It's one of the unique treasures of the Puget Sound area.
On a beautiful day like this, what else would you rather be doing but get out on the water?
Washington State ferries carry 22 million people and 9.9 million cars annually. By volume, it's the largest ferry system in the country and the third largest in the world. It's also the #1 tourist attraction in the state of Washington. However, in 1999, Tim Eyman's Initiative 695 gutted $1.2 billion from the Washington Department of Transportation budget. The ferry system was one of the hardest hit, losing $150 million in annual funding, or 30% of the system's total budget.
Ever since 695 went through, we have had no permanent funding source.
We are at the minimum amount of crew that we can run legally. If a crew member is missing or gets sick on watch and they can't get another crew member, we pretty much have to tie up the boat. We don't want to be caught in a situation where a vessel is unseaworthy because we don't have enough crew to handle an emergency.
Everyone likes the cheap car tabs. The problem is, it's been a systematic failure of policy to adequately fund the ferry system.
Washington State ferries respond to 7 to 10 medical emergencies each day.
In the event of emergency, we are your best friend.
That's what people don't realize, is the responsibility that we have.
When you're on a ferry boat, when something happens, you are the police, the fire department, and the emergency response team.
We save lives all the time.
All of that stuff happens, and the crews are there.
They just have to ask, and, we're there.
Over the years, I've been involved in several different rescue operations. I've rescued people from sinking vessels. We've recovered people from the water. There's always the potential for catastrophe out on the water.
The state ferry system is the lifeblood of commerce for over 100,000 Washington residents. It's the only way they get to and from their jobs, buy supplies, and, most importantly, get intensive medical care.
Washington State ferries are critical for our operations. We wouldn't be able to deliver care to our citizens without having them. Recently we had a little girl who was having a difficult time breathing. She was critically ill and she was in imminent respiratory failure. We were able to call the boat. They were able to come over in the middle of the night and be ready for us. So by the time we got there, we were able to get on the boat. The staff was able to communicate to the captain how sick this little girl was, and we were able to get her to the hospital, and she was close to death. They were a really important part of the team for us in delivering care for that little girl.
But not everyone acknowledges the work that the Washington State ferry workers do.
There's a misconception about ferry workers.
Their impression might be the one with the broom's a janitor, the other one's a parking lot attendant. And in reality, every one of the people on those boats is highly trained in safety, first aid, firefighting.
All of those things are wrapped up in the job, but you just don't see it.
In the past decade, dedicated funding was restored for roads and buses. However, the ferry system is funded by irregular and inconsistent sources, resulting in higher fares, fewer runs, and longer lines.
Every time you increase fares, some people quit riding, just kind of a downward spiral feeding on itself. Vessels do have a design service life. When you're pushing over 50 years on some of them, you're going to have breakdowns no matter how good the maintenance is on them.
You see a rusty old boat, it's probably because of 695.
The ferry system is trying to balance their budget by cutting the manning on the vessels. This is putting the passengers at risk. Sooner or later it catches up to you.
The ferry system needs our support before its quality is eroded beyond repair. It's the #1 tourist attraction in the state of Washington. Highly trained ferry workers save lives and assist with emergency medical care every day. It's vital for commerce, supports thousands of jobs, and 100,000 people depend on it every day. It's part of what makes Washington a great place to live, and let's keep it that way.